One at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
Good evening, everybody. Let's talk Jets. February 17th, the day the franchise tag can be applied, the day that Ian got a haircut, the day that Shinedown released a lot of really cool information, especially a new song, Safe and Sound. So check it out if you like rock music. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Literally just walked in like 2-3 minutes ago, so I'm pumped I made it on time. Armand, what's going on, dude? Yeah, pumped to be here, man.
No, it's slowly but surely we're getting a lot more information. The scouting combine's coming up, and that's when the rumor mill really takes off. But today is the day where the Jets could, if they wanted to, tag Breece Hall, which has been a conversation for everybody. What are your thoughts on that, man? Because it's going to, you got the transition tag, franchise tag, a lot of money, a player that may or may not want to be here. How do you handle it?
Dude, all the beat reporters are saying just tag him, but I'm not really, I guess if you tag him, he's going to be here, assuming he signs the tag. But man, I got to be honest, I'm just not really a big fan of it. I guess you can maybe talk. If you're going to go down the tag route, I would much prefer the transition tag compared to just the standard one I think it's like over 14 mil.
Yep.
That to me is just, it feels like a Band-Aid move, and you run the risk of potentially pissing Breece Hall off. Like, ultimately, what is a franchise tag? Like why is it in place? What would be the goal here for Breece? You're getting him back for one more season at a really, really high price.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And to me, like, if you're Darren Muji, you either sign him to an extension at a cheaper annual basis, 11.5, maybe 12 mil, $12 million per season, and he's here for the next 3 years, or you just let him go. I mean, I guess you can maybe like tag and trade, but if the plan this whole entire time was just to tag Breece Hall at 14 plus mil, I really don't feel like it makes a ton of sense to go down that route.
Well, and the question is, if they tag him, which is like, well, you got to tag him to protect yourself. Do you think a team is actually going to trade for him? Is it going to, and he can kind of hold leverage too. Like, listen, I want my contract. I want to be 4 years, 60 million. Or I want this. I want that. So he can actually scare away teams that are trading for him. So do you think that would even happen?
It's tough, man, because it's like you take a look at the running back class, and I'm sure we're going to get into free agency at some point, so I don't know if this is spoiling it, but you got guys like Kenneth Walker set to the open market, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, right? Three backs that have showed, hey, they can play at this level. Then you throw on top of it guys like Javonte Williams as well. Got to factor in somebody's going to be drafting Jeremiah Love in the first round, which takes a running back needy team off the board. So I don't know, man. Like, I guess a date.
Can I stop you 1 second? Like, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, this is the reason I'm going to ask you this. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, do you want to trade a whatever, say, second round pick and give Breece Hall a new contract, or just draft Jeremiah Love and not to give up that big contract?
It's tough because the entire secondary of the Chiefs is going to be blown up. Like, they're going to be losing Brian Cook at safety, who's one of the better cover corners in football. It's looking like he's going to be getting anywhere, or sorry, not cover corner, cover safeties, I should say. I actually feel like he makes sense for the Jets, ironically enough, but he can get anywhere from 12 to 14. Watson's a free agent at corner. There's some Trent McDuffie trade rumors just for the Chiefs to kind of, not because they don't like McDuffie, but just to help with the financials. They can cut their tackle Taylor that can save, I think, $20 million. So they have a lot of things to figure out. Man, I think if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously Jeremiah Love would be awesome. But if I can trade, say, a round 4 pick for Breece Hall and then go out and draft, say, a Caleb Downs or corner 1 in this entire class in that top 10, I think that would be the path that I would rather go down.
Even if you have to give a big contract to Breece, that 4 years, $13 million per?
It's tough, but I will say I think the Chiefs wouldn't have to pay him as much as the Jets would. I feel like if the Chiefs offered him 11 mil, that he would sign for that. I mean, James Cook is at 11 mil. Kyron Williams is at 11 mil. I don't know. I don't really think he would be opting, I mean, like, do you think Breece would, like, let's just rattle off some hypothetical contracts, 3 years, $36.5 million from the Jets. So like a little over 13 million per season, or 3 years, 32.5 from the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, I think he wants. Well, see, I guess it's basically what we think of Breece. I think Breece wants out. So to me, it's like if you have two contracts that are somewhat similar, I want, and you can go to Chiefs with Andy Reid, where a chance you can flourish. I would do that. But I'm trying to figure out. Well, okay, we're going to franchise tag him. Great. What team is actually going to give up the compensation that the Jets want and pay Breece what he wants to get the trade done? There's two facets to it. The Jets go like, you know what? We'll take. They wouldn't take a 4th round pick at the trade deadline. They have to get more now, right? That was a rumor at least. So you have to get at least a 3rd round pick for him now, or you're going to look stupid because you could have did this trade deadline and avoid all this. And the other thing is, if Breece wants his, we don't know what he wants. What if he says, I want 4 years, 14. I want to be paid more than James Cook. Okay, is there a team that thinks he's worth that? Like, as Jet fans, are we overrating Breece? Are we underrating him? Like, what do you think the league perception is? Where is he really should be paid like a top 5, top 6 running back?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an above average back. I don't think he's a top 3 back. He's had the big injury. I like Breece, again, above average back in my opinion. I would love to have him back, but I'm not overpaying to have him. I'm not going to sit here and spend over 14 mil per season to keep Breece Hall. And again, going back to the franchise tag price point, it just feels a little too expensive in my opinion.
That's
For a team with a ton of holes. Obviously it's a brand new coaching staff and stuff, and maybe they have more ideas to get Breece Hall more overall production and volume. But I feel like I know what this offense looks like with Breece, and he's our second best offensive player, or I should say second best offensive skill player outside of, Garrett Wilson and the offensive line. That's obviously valuable, but let me just throw this at you. If the Jets were to say tag and trade, we get whatever, an extra day 3 pick, or Breece just says, I refuse to sign the tag. I'm not reporting. I'm walking in free agency, so don't even bother with the whole franchise tag thing. One way or another, he leaves, and the Jets would essentially save that 12, 13, 14 million dollars per season. Would you turn around and maybe pay a running back under 10 that you can, like a solid quality back? Maybe he's not a top 10 guy, but he's certainly a top 20 back for example, there's rumors that DeAndre Swift could be released from the Bears, and he's coming off an 1,000-yard season. He has the relationship with Aaron Glenn. Could you bring him in for 1 year, 7 mil, or 2 years, 14 or something? I think that would be something to explore as well.
And that's the thing. To me, it's like we respect Breece, we like Breece, but for me, 14.5, whatever it is, I don't want to pay that. Like, the allocation of salary cap money, while the Jets have a lot of it, they have a lot of needs and a lot of holes. And to me, the Jets are going to suck with or without Breece this year. So it's like, all right, if it's a 1 year tag, we're going to have the same conversation next year. We can tag him again next year. You don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So it's just definitely different. It's, I guess I could see transition tag. What that does, you can say, okay, listen, go out and get the best deal you can get. You want to test free agency? Bang, I'm going to go test free agency. Come back with whatever deal you get. And the Jets can say, you know what? We want to keep our best players, but we want them to see what their best options are too. We can match it or not match it. And they say, hey, listen, this was, past our price point, and you walk away, but okay, that's fine. You look a little better that way. Actually try to keep them, be that way, but it's just to allocate that much money to him, man, a 1 year deal. And you kind of got to figure that you already know his price point, because at the trade deadline, you had to talk about it. Do you want to be here? What your contract demands, all this other stuff. And then you go, okay, now we know what we're up against going into it. So if you're not getting a deal done now, it's not going to get done until when? So I don't like the way they handled it, to be honest with you, but it just, and the thing is too, it's in terms of a leadership perspective. Is he the good locker room ambassador? He's the guy that you want to motivate your young players and inspire young players. You got a lot of young talent. You're gonna have a very, very good chance of a very young quarterback either this year, next year, to build around. Is he a building block for you for the next 3 or 4 years, or do you turn the page and say, listen, you know what, we can go a different direction here?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, do I want Breece back? Yes, I do, but I'm not going to the ends of the earth, handing out a massive mega deal for someone who you don't really know 100%. Hey, is he fully bought in? Does he really want to be here? Has the losing maybe gotten to him? And ultimately, that is part, that's on the Jets for just not looking like a competent unit. But Breece Hall has actually looked competent. He's done his part on the field. There is a chance, of course, that he could just say, look, I appreciate the offer, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna explore other options. Here's my big question though: if the Jets are so willing to tag Breece Hall, and ultimately, I think it will probably be the transition tag, but if they put the normal franchise tag on him at 14 mil, again, what is that? It's a short-term, expensive Band-Aid, and we're gonna be asking the same exact question next offseason, as well as potentially pissing him off, unless you wanna maybe trade him at the deadline, but if you wanna go down go down that route, it's like, what are you gonna get, a 4th-round pick? We coulda had that if the reports are true, right? We don't that's another whole aspect of it. We don't know if that was confirmed or not. That was just kind of the rumor at the time, but, there was interest in Hall. It just kind of feels like we're putting it on the back burner. And, if we do go ahead with the tag, the only problem is it's a really expensive back burner, like
That's
quote unquote solution. I mean, I don't know. It just feels strange. And I mean, there's so many hours within the day. You got to imagine, like, whether it's at the trade deadline, it's the weeks, the tanking month of
yeah.
December, like, not having a set plan for Breece. Not saying that that there isn't a plan. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe they have the perfect plan. It's just, we have yet to see it. But
That's what they have.
you know, but I mean, it does make you ask the question. It's just like, we've reached this point. Like, you got to feel like, okay, the Jets have ran through this scenario at least once between Spielman or Glenn or Frank Reich, somebody, right? I mean, Frank Reich, I'm sure, would want clarification on who his RB1 is going to be. So, yeah, I mean, I think ultimately Breece will be back, but it will probably be for the transition tag, which, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about this one. This one, I'm really curious to see if they franchise tag him, how many teams are willing to pony up big time compensation to get him. Is there going to be 2nd-round pick offered, 3rd-round pick, or if it's only a 4th-round pick, knowing that, the Jets want him, he doesn't want to be there. Like, listen, we know he's unhappy with you guys. We know you guys want to get rid of him, but we're not giving you a 2nd-round pick. We're giving you a 4th. Take it or leave it. Or then you have him, and then, like you said, does he hold out? Does he want more? Does it get ugly? Is it a media circus? You have no idea what could happen with this.
Yeah, dude, I don't want it to. And look, this is assuming a lot of things. This is assuming that the Jets tag him. This is assuming that Breece Hall refuses to sign and holds out. I don't want that distraction for a new offensive staff coming in. To have, training camp or mini camp start up, and it's just like, well, Breece isn't reporting, and it's just like, oh, like, this could have been handled so much better. Here's a question I have for you: if the Jets do decide to go down the tag route with Hall, is where he can talk to other teams and whatnot, is there a world where maybe the Jets are, they're kind of waiting in that wait and see mode with Hall? They're kind of, essentially just literally waiting, sitting on their hands waiting, because it's like, okay, well, if Hall stays, he's a really good back. He's an above average back, and he's going to be here, and he's going to be our RB1. But if he leaves, we need to make a move. Is there maybe a threshold, a line in the sand where the Jets are like, hey, you know what? We're wasting time because Breece doesn't have an answer, like on day 1 or day 2 or what, like if it drags into a week and now other running backs around the league are signing, and it's like, okay, if we don't get him back, now there's actually no more options.
Our plan B's gone.
Could be another, potential problem with the transition tag.
Well, that's exactly what could happen too. That's a really good point where it's like, all right, you're gonna say, you know what, you want to hold out fine, you want to do this fine, and meanwhile, free agency gets wiped out, and now you're stuck to, now we got to draft somebody. So it's a lot of different ways this can go. I'm fast. Now we got to cover this. What are you doing, dude? RJ3, bro, that's just completely unnecessary, dude. That's just crazy. What size shirt do you wear, dude? Tell me what size shirt you wear, a sweatshirt. I'll see if I can email at talkjetsradio@gmail.com. I'll try to send you something, dude. That's just crazy. So it's just ridiculous, dude. Let's do this.
Yeah. So, RJ I was talking to him over email a couple of days ago, or maybe like a week and a half ago. Former Texas Tech alum, former teammate of Zach Thomas, back with the Red Raiders. Big David Bailey guy, Lee Hunter, Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, he lists them all, right? Romello Height, Virgil. all these dudes, man. I mean, Texas Tech's defense was freaking stacked. And Daniel Jeremiah actually put out a mock draft today, early this morning, with the Jets going with Bailey at 2.
Yeah, that seems to be the biggest. I know Connor Rogers is big on him too. A lot of Jet fans are all about get that elite edge rusher, give you explosiveness, best player in the draft. I can dispute it, which I'll talk about later with you. I can give you another case for some other players, but yeah, I mean, and RG, that's just crazy, man. Thank you so much. That's, again, talkjetsradio@gmail.com. I got shirts and sweatshirts. I'll send you something, man. That's just wild. But right now on February 17th, are you all about David Bailey or no?
I do like David Bailey. I think the guy's a beast. And ultimately, if the Jets go with Arvell, if they go with Bain at 2, I'm not going to sit here. Like, I really don't think that the Jets are in a position right now to look at any of those guys and say, you know what, it's not going to work out. Like, I think all 3 would provide massive upgrades to the defensive line. They'd all provide pass rush. I think some better than others. And it's pretty funny too, because you look at a guy and you look at all 3, they all have different strengths and weaknesses.
Yep.
Which I think is cool and fun. It's going to be a pretty interesting next couple of months to kind of dive into what exactly everybody wants, because you'll talk to a subset of Jets fans that are like, give me Bain. Every other answer is wrong. And then there's another subset saying, no, it's David Bailey. Like, have you seen his production? The guy flies off the ball like a missile, dude. Like, it looks like a rabid animal trying to attack the quarterback. Like, it's just insane, mind-blowing. And then Arvell Reese, you have the potential, him being 20 years old, throwing offensive linemen around like rag dolls that have 60, 70 pounds on them, moving them around like they're high school offensive tackles. So, yeah, and you also have like the multi-positional debate with Reese. So, I mean, if the Jets wind up with any one of those 3, I would be totally thrilled. And David Bailey, I think right now is probably the best pass rusher out of the 3 and would provide instant juice. I do have a little bit of a question about the run defense, but not to the point where I wouldn't take him at 2.
I agree with everything you said. Now, where do you put Caleb Downs in all of this? Because very interesting player, could be an enormous impact player on defense, in the locker room and culture, can do a lot of really good things. And the Jets aren't one player away on defense. You have Will McDonald, you have Jermaine Johnson, you have other options. Where does Caleb Downs fall into this thing, like in your rankings of all players available at 2?
I liked Caleb Downs a lot, but I'm not taking. I don't think I could take him at 2.
And why is that? Because safety, or is that?
I think a couple things. Number one, the Jets need, like, when I'm thinking about like exactly what the Jets need at safety, we need, of course, talent and depth, but I think we really need like a rangy center fielder in the back end with how Aaron Glenn wants to play on the defensive side, right? Like, you look at Kirby Joseph in Detroit, like this rangy ball hawk, can come up with interceptions and pass deflections. I personally haven't seen enough from Caleb Downs with Ohio State. I saw a good amount of it with Alabama, making plays in like the deep parts of the field. But, I think Caleb Downs is an absolute baller, right? He's a great player. I think he'd come in and I'd probably say he like the second he arrives in Florham Park, he'd probably be our best defensive player. I don't think that's a stretch to say. But yeah, you have the whole safety argument. I mean, what's the slotted price for the second overall pick? Is it over $50 million guaranteed?
Yeah, I gotta look at that. I don't know. It's up there though.
Yeah, it's definitely higher than 45 mil. I think, of course, like the whole contract factored in. That is basically like what some of these safeties are getting paid on some of the best free agents are getting paid on the open market. Right. So like right off the bat, Caleb Downs, just purely looking at the rookie deal, would be one of the highest paid safeties in the entire National Football League. And if you really feel like, okay, we need that deep center fielder, and you don't know if Downs can do, I mean, maybe he can do that, but is it worth passing on literally everybody else in the draft at spot number 2 outside of who the Raiders take? That's the big question. So again, positional question, safety at that position at 2. You have the contract that he would be slotted in at, which would be super, super expensive. And then the third kind of curveball in the whole Caleb Downs thing, you look at the free agent market, and there's a ton of really, really good safety options there, like veteran pieces. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 guys that we can just rattle off right now that would be instant day one contributors, maybe not as good as Caleb Downs, but would be coming in at, a full contract at 30 to 40 mil, somewhere in that range. And you kind of know who they are. And it's not just like a 1-for-1 swap. It's yes, in both cases, the Jets are going to be getting a great safety, but in the path of the veteran free safety or the veteran safety on the open market, you also get the number 2 overall pick that you can go invest in, like a Bailey or, a Reese or somebody like that. So I love down or yes. But I think Kyle Hamilton was a better prospect than Downs. I think he had more range. I think he had more length, and he's a bigger, more versatile player.
That's a tough one, man. I think they're pretty close.
See, I prefer Derwin James and Kyle Hamilton over Downs, but Downs probably, I would probably say Downs is the 3rd best safety. But yeah, dude, I love Kyle Hamilton, man. I loved Kyle Hamilton.
My man JC keeps me updated daily on everything New York Jets. Tice has now entered the category. Oh boy, I'm not as good as Ian is, man. Ian is a machine. He covers mock drafts and all kinds. He's an absolute beast when it comes to content. I just watch his stuff and just make jokes.
No, dude, bro, this is definitely one of the highlights of the week, man. I love chopping it up, hanging with Jets fans and stuff. I really should go live on the channel more. But just the schedule is always kind of up in the air, and I would like to really lock in a couple dates. But Tuesday nights, alternating channels. It's a lot of fun.
What do you think about Styles, man? A lot of people are saying, you know what, we're looking past him, not kind of even considering him at 2. Is that a possibility for you or no?
At 2, probably not. But I do like Styles. I think Styles could be a top 7 pick.
So what's the thing is, to me, I struggle with that because I'm just a dumb. It's like, so saying, you know what, I would take him at 6, but I wouldn't take him at 2. Well, if you're taking him at 6, it's still a premium pick. I'm taking him at 2. It's got to be the best player for your team. It's like that that drives me crazy, dude. It does. I don't know why it drives me, but it's like, if you think of him that highly, if we trade down to 5, I would definitely take him. So those 3 picks are drastically changing your viewpoint on this player. That to me, it's not enough. They have a better reason than that.
No, that's totally fair. I think so. I'm with you when it comes to maybe say if you're sitting or if you want to talk about the 16th overall pick and you're in love with the 20th ranked prospect,
right?
And you want to reach 4 spots and you go get your guy that you love at 16, but he's not the 16, he's not a top 16 rated prospect. But at 2, let's just say, okay, we decide to trade down to 6 or 7. Which honestly, is not really a bad idea whatsoever.
Nope.
You look at, it's too tough because it's pre-combine. We don't really know exactly, how teams view Downs, how teams view maybe a Sonny Styles, but I feel like at 2, the world is the Jets. The options are there. If you want to go after the BPA, if you want to go after the highest ceiling guy, if you want to go after the perfect system fit, you're not really waiting for the board to fall to you for a 3-win team. I think to have as many options as possible, you're in a pretty good spot to be in. But I do see your point though about, okay, if Downs would be a great fit for the Giants at 5, but he would be a head scratcher for the Jets at 2. That's 3 different 3 picks.
And the thing is too, it's some analysts are saying that Caleb Downs is the best defensive player in the draft. That in their opinion, that's the best player they see on defense in the draft. Okay, if that's the case, then why are the Jets taking him at 2? If you look at your board and be like, listen, because the Jets are rebuilding, dude. They're not one player away. They take Bailey, Styles. It's a piece to the puzzle. All you're trying to do is collect pieces of the puzzle that'll be here, that'll make an impact this year and for the years to come. If you think a player, just say for Jeremiah Love, if he's the best player you've seen on offense in this draft class, and you want to take him at, I'm not going to take him at 2, but if that's who your guy is, take him. You need elite playmaking, talent added to this team on both sides of the ball. So I'm not going to be picking, this may not fit this. Take the dude if he's great. We need elite talent. That's what we need. I'm not making a case for Downs, but I'm saying some of these arguments I have him evaluated as my best player in the draft, but I'm not taking him. Well, why not? Who are the Jets? They don't have anything here. You know what I mean? Look at the defense. There's so many holes on defense. If you have a big piece of your puzzle being added at pick 2, and that's who it is, if it's Downs to safety, I don't care. Good, great. Let's move on. Like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it like the way I'm kind of looking at it, and this is kind of the beauty of being a 3-win team and having a ton of needs. You can go in 5-6 different directions
Yeah.
in most of your picks. Like so we have the 4 picks in the top 45. You could throw out safety, wide receiver, guard, quarterback. Depending on what happens with Breece, if he leaves, obviously you could factor running back in. I would say linebacker, corner, D tackle, edge rusher. Like we can go in so many different spots. We're not like pigeonholed into like 2 positions and we're like, we have to cross our fingers that this guy falls to us. So, if the Jets want to say, okay, you know what, overall this class is a little bit weaker. We have the 2 second-round picks. We have a really high 4th. We want to go with the BPA approach. And the best player on our board at spot number 2 is Caleb Downs. Are the Jets a worse team? No. I think we're a lot better. Also, something to make a note of with Caleb Downs, he's like an incredible leader. He's like he's a professional right now.
Yep.
Like the way he studies opposing offenses, the way he studies opposing quarterbacks, like his film study and the attention to detail is already like at the level of already at the level of NFL players, which I think is just totally cool. You could kind of move him around the defense, right? Him in the slot, in coverage. Dude, Caleb Downs is an absolute beast. If the Jets draft Caleb Downs, it's certainly not a bad pick. I would rather just go with the edge rusher though, because edge rushers just don't grow on trees. And if I could go and find a couple safeties in free agency, a starter and a backup for a combined $15 million on an annual basis, I think I would rather do that plus the edge rusher too.
Yeah, but see, now the question is, going in the free agency, you could also add edge rushers in free agency as well. Get help there.
Not premier ones.
But then we're going to say Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson have hit their level. They're not going to get any better, or they may not even be here. They trade them away. We need David Bailey to be our new pass rusher. We don't have any on our roster. Like, because like the kind of free agency could dictate your draft approach too, because it gives you more flexibility. Like, listen, you know what? We feel comfortable with edge rusher now, or pass rusher, whatever you want to call them. We don't have to get Bailey. We can go in a different direction, or we can go sign safeties in free agency. Like, different ways you can go. But you think like the Jets, there's no way to upgrade free agency with a pass rusher?
I mean, we could definitely upgrade because JJ and Will McDonald are going to be here like unless they get traded, right? They're under contract for sure.
Yeah.
I think the main issue with the Jets last season was, okay, you had maybe a Will McDonald and a Jermaine Johnson underperforming, right? And those are your 2 starting edges. But then when they're subbed out, you're putting in a practice squad player. Of course, no disrespect here, but you're putting in a Brady McGregor. You're putting in a Michael Clemens. You're putting in a Tyler Barham. Right. And so it's like, okay, 45% of the snaps. Yeah, like on a Madden standpoint perspective, like if you're just looking at like names on paper, like, oh yeah, Jermaine's our starter.
Right.
But if he's only out there 55% of the time, and the other, call it 45%, it's a practice squad player that probably is not on most NFL teams. That's a big portion of the game where you're at a significant weakness.
But that's Moji's fault though. That's because Moji he was barking basement shopping last year in free agency, and it blew up in his face. Either every guy got hurt or cut, and he had to make trades to bring in players. Think about the free agent class before he traded for Briggs and Harrison Phillips. It was a disaster, dude. The defensive line was gross. It was. And those two guys
had all those injuries.
Well, injuries and guys they signed just sucked. They traded one back to Kansas City. The other guy got injury cut and then got signed somewhere else, which was just weird. So many like weird things.
Oh yeah, that was, dude. I remember doing we were talking about that. Like he got put on season-ending IR and then he goes to the Chargers. Like I don't even know what happened there. But what kind of sucks about this whole thing, man, is like if you just go back a couple of seasons ago, our defensive line was so deep with Jermaine, Will McDonald. We had John Franklin Myers. We had Bryce Huff in the mix. We had Quinn Williams. Like we had all these talented guys. I know Hassan Reddick obviously didn't work out, but that was another piece that they added.
Yep.
I still feel like if he got his contract extension, he would have kind of maybe fit into the team a little bit more. But I mean, we had a lot of rotating pieces back with the Saleh regime, but that final season, for whatever reason, JD decided to blow it up, right? Trading away JFM for nothing, and then you had the whole Reddick debacle. So look, like the bottom line is the New York Jets cannot rush the passer. They are one of the worst teams in rushing the passer. I'm not looking at. You got Garrett Wilson, you have the tackles, you have Joe Tippmann, you got Jawan Briggs, but really outside of those guys, I'm not really looking at any other positions on the team and saying to myself like, oh yeah, we're totally fine there. I'm not interested in upgrading. Like if we want to go after a corner in free agency or the draft, maybe not at 2, but if you are in love with someone at 33 or 16 and the second he steps in, boom, he's our corner 1, I'm not going to push back at you. I mean, the team had 0 interceptions all season. If you want to, sign a linebacker and say, hey, you know what? We're going to allow Quincy to walk and we're going to plug our guy in because he fits our defense a little bit more. Cool. Fine with me. If you want to go out and get another edge rusher and you want to say, okay, Will McDonald, you're going to be our situational pass rusher. You come in on obvious passing situations. Fine with me. This team, in my personal opinion, hasn't warranted like a ton of different just passes in a sense where I'm not looking at this team saying like look at say for example Buffalo or New England. You can go down a checklist about like 8 to 9 different points or aspects of the team and say that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. I don't want to mess with this. I don't want to really mess with that. We have this figured out. We have that figured out. With the Jets, it's like, again, you have the tackles. You have Joe Tippmann. He's going to be a starter. You have Garrett Wilson as your wide receiver 1. But outside of that, like if you want to sell me on the idea of drafting an edge rusher at 2, cool.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I'm getting an upgrade there. If
I'm at best player available all over the place. I don't care at this point. You got to find upgrades. You got to find talent. You got to find building blocks for the future. You got to find pieces on offense to build around a young quarterback for the years to come. And I kind of wanted to ask you about that because we're talking about free agency and the draft and stuff. How do you handle your offensive line? Because Simpson's gone now, and AVT's a free agent, and we all love Elijah Vera Tucker. Great leader, great captain, great player when healthy, versatile, can do it all. But he doesn't do it all consistently enough because he's always hurt. He's only played 2 out of the 5 years in his career. He's been healthy. So that's a problem, dude. And now it's like everybody wants him back. Bring him back. Okay, well, now he's a free agent. He's going to test free agency. What are you offering him to bring him back? He's not going to give the Jets a hometown discount, nor should he, because he's probably tired of losing. So he probably wants a fresh start as well. Are you giving him what he's worth in terms of his potential going forward? Are you paying him as a potential Pro Bowler going forward, giving him $9, $10, $11 million a year and holding your breath that he comes back and he stays healthy? Like, how do you handle him in his contract?
Dude, I think I'd bring back Simpson because I think he'd come in at a cheaper price. I think he'd come in at a cheaper price, $6.5 million, 1-year deal. You kind of feel like Simpson kind of reminds me of like the offensive version of Harrison Phillips, where you just kind of know who he is. He's certainly not the best or the top 2-3 player on the unit, but he's bought into the coaching staff. He's a good culture guy, good in the locker room, and he plays. He's consistent. He's durable. Like, I don't necessarily want to rock the boat or make too many changes on the offensive line. Of course, tackles, cool. Tippmann at right guard, cool. Josh Myers is going to be starting at center. Okay, we have that figured out. But left guard, if we can bring Simpson back to like bridge to next season, or say draft a guard on day 3, like with that high 4th rounder.
Yeah.
Like early on that, normally it's on a Saturday, like early in the day, just go out and select a solid guard and say, okay, the plan is you're probably going to be the first guard up off the bench if we have an injury, but the plan is you're going to sit the entire year. And then Simpson's going to walk next season, and then he's going to step in with a full season on the bench to grow physically and mentally, and he'd be really cheap, right? But if the Jets, again, kind of going back to the point we were talking about before, if the Jets are like, you know what, no, we could do better. Reich is pounding on the table saying, I want the best guard in free agency. Cool. Fine. I'm not, Olu's on a cheap deal. Membu's on a cheap deal. If you want to go out and spend top dollar on just a slam dunk left guard to really just ensure no problems, I'm not going to sit here and scream and, complain about what the Jets are doing.
So Dylan says, what's up, Dylan? Given AVT the Tyron Smith pay-as-you-go deal and drafting a day 2 guard seems like the better case scenario. The thing is, why would AVT sign that deal? AVT's not like, we always take it from the Jets perspective. Well, we should just do this. Yeah, but AVT's a free agent. He's not going to take these deals. He's going to want more money, more stability. He's not going to want to go one. He's going to probably get it too, just based on his abilities.
Yeah, and another thing too is you have to look at. I think that sounds great, right? Like in theory, and who knows, maybe Vera Tucker would sign that. But I think the issue is there's a lot of teams that need help at guard. A lot of good teams.
Yep.
Eagles need a guard. Lions need a guard. Vikings could use some help on the inside. Yep. I know Buffalo has a couple free agents. I don't know if he would sign on to Buffalo. Like if you're the Bills, you kind of want sure things. Like protecting Josh Allen up front. But I mean, if AVT's health checks out and you feel good about it, again, I'm not going to see, like, if we get word, boom, breaking news, the New York Jets have agreed to terms with Elijah Vera Tucker on a 1-year deal. Awesome.
Yeah, but okay.
Like, AVT's a better player than Simpson.
He is, but it depends what the money is. To me, it's the money. And we had this argument last night too. Where it's like, well, okay, just tag Breece Hall. Okay, that's 14.5. Just give AVT 1 year, $12 million. Okay, that's 26 million. Like, it's like we want to bring back good players. We also want to be smart and get the best value you can for the money because we have a lot of holes. You need depth, you need talent, you need game breakers. And it's like the money only goes so far. And to me, there's a lot of risk associated with him. So if he wants to sign like an incentive-laden deal where it's like, hey, listen, say you get $6 million guaranteed per year, and if you play 10 games, you get this. If he wants to do that, great. But for me, I'm like, from his perspective, I'm not sure he's even going to take that from the Jets. He may say, listen, I want to get paid the most I can. I deserve it. This is where I'm at. Take it or leave it. And for the Jets, I don't think they're in a position to do that because, like you said, you can have Simpson, you can go other routes for cheaper, get more depth. That $12 million could be 2 players. Like, you don't know where. I'm just really curious to see what his price tag is going to be. It's not discounting him. I love him as a player. He's a great leader, great player when he's healthy. But the injuries, it's just like if it's once, okay, fine. If they're fluke injuries, fine. They keep happening for whatever reason. So that's a trend. You know what I mean?
Three season enders, man. And it's like, and it sucks because I love Vera Tucker. I think he's a good player when healthy. I mean, the Jets have basically played him at left tackle, left guard, and right tackle throughout the course of his career. And like you want a guy like that on your team, but it's just the health. And he's had 2 season enders due to torn tricep. I don't know if it was the same arm or I don't know if it was a situation where both were torn somehow. That whole, whenever you see like reporting about like a player has a torn bicep or a torn triceps, it never really like specifies which arm, stuff like that. But on top of that, he also had the Achilles. And again, now we're up to 3 season-ending injuries. Look, like if you bring AVT back, cool, but there's a chance. Like I know I'm going to be in a position where every single day I'm going to be crossing my fingers, hoping that the training camp practice ends and Vera Tucker does not get dinged up. And also too,
last night,
if you're Frank Reich and say you do decide to bring Vera Tucker back and he does miss time, he does get hurt, and left guard's a problem, and maybe Josh Myers isn't like picking up the system 100% because you got to imagine they're going to be doing some different things than what Tanner Ashton was, calling last season. I feel great about Membu, Titman, and Olu, but let's just say Vera Tucker gets hurt and maybe Josh Myers regresses a little bit. I mean, Myers wasn't a top center, but let's just say he gets a little bit worse. And now all of a sudden you're looking at left guard and center being a potential problem for the team. And I'm not saying, Simpson is the end all be all, but I know who Simpson is. And I know he's going to be cheaper. He's going to be under 10 mil. I know we don't have to give him a long-term contract. I know he's bought in with Aaron Glenn. I know he's durable and he plays. I like Simpson.
Yep. Fair enough. Here's a question for you. First of all, Mr. Sensei, thank you. If Breece Hall leaves, would you be okay drafting Emmett Johnson?
So Emmett Johnson's an absolute beast. But the problem, I think he's probably going to go in round 3 and we don't have a 3rd round pick. So for me, I think if he falls to round 4 and we don't make another free agency signing, obviously he'd be like high up on the, high up on the list. But to me, if Breece Hall leaves, you can't, in my opinion, if you're Darren Moosh, you can't just not do anything in free agency and then hit the draft and say, like, hopefully one falls to us at pick whatever it is, 104. 109.
Yeah.
We go get like our RB1 at 10, whatever it is. Like that just feels a little bit too, like, for example, with Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft that came out earlier, he had the Jets going with Ione, the best guard in the class at 16.
I hated that.
And I really like him as a player. But that assumes that Johnson, like that there's a lot of assumptions when it comes to selecting Ione. So like the description that Jeremiah had was Simpson's a free agent. Vera Tucker has the injury problems.
Yep.
So let's just go get a guard at 16. But if you're Darren Muji and that's the plan, Simpson bounces, AVT's out, and you don't sign a guard, and it's like, okay, the hope is that the best one in the draft falls to us at 16, where teams at 15 in the Bucks and 14 in the Ravens desperately need help at guard. They could definitely take him there. So if he's off the board, now your entire left guard plan is completely ruined. So like you're really taking a big risk at 16. So
that
if we could fast forward and the draft is tomorrow, or we have the draft first and then free agency.
I understand what you're saying. I think it's absolutely friggin' ridiculous. The Jets are in a position when they need elite playmaking talent. So if you want to go pass rusher at 2, at 16 you go wide receiver, best available. Like I respect what you need a guard. Have a better plan than hold your breath and hope you get at 16 the best guard in the draft. To me, it's got to be a receiver. Like Garrett Wilson needs help, because the reason why I say that is I have a hard time believing they're going to get a wide receiver in free agency, because nobody's going to want to come here with a quarterback that's to be determined. So that's the problem. Like, it's not like the wide receiver free agent class is vast, but you know what? We can get like 2 guys there. Don't worry about it. To me, like, I need a really, really good wide receiver coming out of this draft class. Go ahead.
I feel like the wide receiver class is actually pretty deep in free agency.
Why not get the best ones? Like, is the guard class is that bad? You have to go at 16 and get one?
I'm not arguing in defense of Jeremiah. I'm arguing against Jeremiah's plan.
But I'm saying what I hate with the Jets, or with the thinking of that, is I've been hearing for a decade how the wide receiver class is always so deep, and the Jets never frigging get one. Oh, we'll go.
We always get one, but they don't work out.
But that's because we're always settling for second, third, fourth best. The Elijah Moores and all those other frigging guys. Go and get the top ones. You did it with Garrett Wilson. Do it again this year too. Like, don't overthink this at some point. You need elite talent, game-breaking talent to support your young quarterback. And wide receivers are that, because wide receivers aren't going to sign here right now with no quarterback on the roster.
Well, you can make a move at quarterback early in free agency. Like if Kirk Cousins is released, he can sign anywhere. Wouldn't you want like Garrett Wilson and whoever, name it, Lemon, whoever you want, 1-2 for the next 10 years? Like, there's your 1-2 punch. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to say, well, we get the guy late round 2. We could hope no, get the top guy this time. Sure, but every team, like let's just go down. Let's just quit. We're at 16, okay? Not going to include the Raiders. Not going to include us at 2. We can scratch Arizona off at 3. So at 4, let's just go from 4 to 16. How many teams need a wide receiver? And keep in mind, actually, let me ask you, how many wideouts do you feel comfortable with at 16? Like how many different guys do you like? Lemon, you mentioned Cardinal Tate.
Yep.
Tyson.
Yep. That's 3. Boston 4.
You would take Boston at 16?
Yeah.
What about Omar Cooper from Indiana?
Why are you doing this to me, man? I'm not sure.
So let's just go through it. So the Titans could take one. I'm not going to rule it out. Saleh not developing Zach. Dayball's in the mix. Cam Ward's there. He understands the importance of getting a wide receiver, I would say, is in play for Tennessee. They need help at wideout. The Giants at 5. They can definitely go with a wide receiver. Neighbors coming off the ACL. They might lose Wan'Dale Robinson. Cleveland at 6. Who else? We got the Saints need help. They want to get Chuck a weapon. The Chiefs can make sense if they don't go with like a Love, Jeremiah Love or a secondary member. You have the Miami Dolphins who can take a wide receiver. You have the Ravens at 14. I don't think the Cowboys will end up trading George Pickens. I think he'll be back with Dallas, but
yeah, I think so too.
I mean, man, I guess they need too much defensive help, but if they lose Pickens, wide receiver, I would say is a need, but probably not. So, I mean, that's a good chunk of teams that could just take one, and even if one starts to slide, like, let's just say like Jordan Tyson starts to slide because of like the medical or something.
Yeah.
and the Ravens are sitting there at 14 with a brand new head coach. And I mean, he's probably saying, okay, you know what? If Jordan Tyson's healthy, he's right next to Zay Flowers is probably the best talent that Lamar Jackson's ever had to throw to. Let's just take him here at 14. We're outside of the top 10. Let's just go ahead and do this. I'm going to be here for a long time. Let's go get Lamar like a number one and like really get him bought into what we're doing. So I just feel like it's in a perfect world. Yeah. Lemons on the board. Cardinal Tate falls to 16, whatever it is. And we can scoop them up and awesome. We move forward. But I don't think that you can pass on free agent. Like I look at free agency as like a prime opportunity with all this cap space dollars to fill needs.
Of course,
you know, calculated, not overspending and this and that, not being way too reckless with the space. But you know, if you can go out and get a Juwan Jennings from San Francisco, I love him, dude.
Okay.
If you want to say, okay, Michael Pittman gets released and you want to reunite him with Frank Reich again and pay him a decent amount. If you want to, like, say Alec Pierce hits the open market, he's probably going to get like, I mean, I've seen some crazy numbers with Alec Pierce, like 29, 30 million per season. That just feels way too high for me. I really like Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot. You know, Romeo Dobbs, someone that a lot of Jets fans have been talking about.
So you're going to say there's probably, say, 6 wide receivers that everybody values going to free agency. Say 6 to 8.
I would say
everybody
four to 5.
4. Okay, so there's 4. Of those 4 or 5, how many are actually going to want to come to the New York Jets and play for Frank Reich, quarterback to be named later? And that's why I'm saying it's like if we're going to go bargain basement shop, or not bargain, say you're going to get mid-tier wide receivers to kind of be next to A.D. Mitchell and whatever else. If you can get that young stud in the draft, dude, that's where I'm going. The goal is to have pieces in the puzzle. If you get your young quarterback this year, Ty Simpson, whoever, great. Have these pieces in place to grow together and blossom. And if it's next year, even better. Because then you have Garrett Wilson, say Cardinal Tate this year. They're playing together for a year, and Frank Reich's offense. Next year, just plug and play and go. You got to start finding answers at positions of need, man. We keep putting Band-Aids on stuff, and it's not working.
For sure, but my argument isn't we should pass a wide receiver on 16. My argument is if he's not there, if there's not a wide receiver worth taking.
Oh, yeah. I'd take Sadiq then from Oregon.
So you're full on offensive weapon.
100%. Well, yeah. If we're gonna go edge at 2, if we're gonna go take Bailey, any guy at defense, that's great. I want playmakers on offense, dude. I do. I just genuinely want that because I don't have any faith in free agency. I mean, if we have a conversation and like say, 2 weeks of free agency and they sign a receiver that surprised us, or you get more weapons at wide receiver, like, all right, I feel a little better about it. You have more flexibility in the draft, but I don't think that's going to happen though. I have a hard time thinking it's going to happen.
See, I feel like that would be my preferred route because
but
another thing too with the wide. Go ahead.
Are they going to want to come here though? Like we could all say, "Oh, go get Juwan Jennings." Great, sign me up for that today. Does he want to come here? Probably not.
Well, a lot of the teams that we mentioned before don't have tons of caps. I mean, Michael Pittman could be released because the Colts can't afford to bring back Daniel Jones and to bring back Alec Pierce. And also, I've seen a lot of Trey Hendrickson to the Colts buzz as well.
Yep.
Not every team is sitting there like the Jets. Not every team can go out and hand, of course, a smart contract, but a big size deal. Yep. If Juwan Jennings is, because like the Saints aren't in a great cap situation. The Chiefs aren't in a great cap situation. The Bills aren't in a great situation. These teams right?
Find the way though, dude. Every year I hear about the Rams can't sign nobody. This team can't sign nobody. And sure as hell, free agency comes, everybody's getting signed. If there's always, when you have a will, there's a way. They find ways to sign these guys. And some guys may take a little bit less to go to those teams to be with Josh Allen or Mahomes or whoever else. So to me, the Jets have the cards stacked against them in free agency. Call me negative, call me whatever you want. I don't care. It's what I think because it's just the situation that we're in. So if that's the case, and we walk away from free agency with lower level wide receivers and mid tier guys, I'm not screwing our next young quarterback by like, you know what? We'll figure it out with our scheme. We're gonna scheme everybody open. F that, dude. Sign goddamn talent. Bring in draft talent. And it's first round talent. Take no more chances. Like let's eliminate problems. The defense sucks this year. It's gonna suck anyway. We're gonna suck this year anyway. Add as much elite talent as possible. You want to do edge, but it's gonna be at the skill positions. That's where I'm at, dude. Like, if you want to get if Breece Hall walks, trade for Jeremiah Love. I don't care. But elite game-breaking talent.
Yeah, I'm with you. My question is if that elite game-breaking talent is not there.
At 16? There's only 16 players in the draft?
Well, I mean, okay, so if you want to go down that route, say like Mansour Delane from LSU or like Jamon McCoy falls at corner, who come in and immediately be your corner one immediately.
But I could play this game with you, but there's got to be other positions that had that same value. Like at 16, there's going to be top level players at their position still available because there'll be a run on positions. If you have all the edge rushers go, all this, there's going to be other position groups. That's why I said Sadiq, because he could be there at 16 for all we know. I love him as a player. I know we have Mason Taylor. Don't care. Talent. Add talent to the room. That's where I'm at. So it's like if you have to choose between a great linebacker and a great cornerback, I'd probably go great linebackers. We need that more than corner. It's kind of based on best player at the position and what the position is, and then I evaluate it that way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a like ideal realistic world, because I don't want to pretend like, oh yeah, we're gonna go sign, sign this wide receiver and go draft Lemon at 16 and or Tate at 16 and
Yep.
like everything's gonna be all perfect. Like there are going to be players that the Jets will have to try to overpay for. There are going to be tough negotiations with other teams, like a bidding war, right?
Yep.
But the Jets at least have the space to actually make it happen. It's not like they're going to be operating with the super fine. And by the way, we're right now sitting at I think 83 million. That can go up, depending on how they want to like designate the Justin Fields release. Because if you make him a post June 1st, all of a sudden like that cap can go up to over 100. So I mean, it would suck to pay Justin Fields what is it, 17 mil in 2027, but like if you look at it from like a percentage of the cap as opposed to like actual dollars, I think it does make sense to make Fields a post June 1st. But let me just throw out this hypothetical, right?
Okay.
Free agency opens up. First order, well, we bring back the depth guys like the Max Mitchells, the Nick Foles, like the Ngwangu's, right? The guys like that. We trade 2 day 3 picks for Jacoby Brissett early.
Okay.
Maybe even before free agency opens up, right? Like that's happening. That's not happening in June, right? That happens early in free agency. Boom, Brissett's going to be the short-term option. We'll see what happens with the draft, but that's the guy that you go out and get.
Okay.
So you have your quarterback. You find a way, some way, somehow to bring Breece Hall back, extension, tag, whatever.
Right.
You bring back AVT or Simpson, take your pick, under $10 million. So you have left guard, quarterback, and running back all figured out. Yep. And you're probably left, if you cut Fields and you make them the post June 1st, you're probably left with 65 to 70 million left over. We're going to pay. Let me ask you, who's your favorite wide receiver out of the 4? Dobbs, Jennings, Wandell. Well, let's leave Pierce out because
I don't think Pierce is going to come here. Pierce can be gone.
Well, Reich did draft Pierce.
Yeah, but I don't think he's coming here though. I think I'll be surprised he gets out. I think he'll probably get re-signed.
Okay, so for Nick, in the chat, if Brissett's trash, if you don't want Brissett, that's totally fine. We could throw out Cousins or another one of these like veteran stopgaps.
They're all in the same boat. Yeah, there's no ideal quarterback for the Jets. They're all a band-aid, bridge, stopgap, whatever you want, unless you get Malik Willis, who's got more potential. But they're all in the same boat. But I'm with you. I'd probably say Jennings, to be honest with you. I'd probably be the guy I go with.
So you get your wide receiver too, and what's cool too, what's appealing with Jennings is like he wears so many different hats within the offense. He can line up as your number 1X. He can line up as the Z. He can line up in the slot, make plays there. And you can kind of move Garrett around too. 6'2", big body guy. He's made a lot of critical catches for the 49ers. And I understand him wanting to be paid, but let's just say you give him $20 to $21 million per season, 3-year deal. And you go out and you start making some of the moves with the former Lions, right? The Amik Robertsons, the Alex Anzalonis, right? The depth pieces, but they would be, instant upgrades on what we currently have. And we go out and we spend like a mid-tier contract on a starting level free safety, like a Reed Blankenship from Philly, maybe a Brian Cook if he doesn't get a great offer, somebody like that. So we have free safety figured out. We have a wide receiver too. We have quarterback with a veteran short-term option. We brought Breece back. We have left guard figured out. We have some depth pieces. Again, Nick Folk and Wangu, like do all like the housework, if you will. And then you hit the draft with the 4 picks in the top 45. Do you feel better about maybe going BPA at 16 compared to, okay, we got to go out and get that offensive weapon.
Oh yeah, well
If
that's
we,
I
if
mean
we
that was
sign one of those wideouts and we have a quarterback in place.
well, yeah, you gave the best case scenario there. That's the jackpot for the Jets. If that happens, you feel a lot better because then you have draft flexibility all over the place. You don't feel pressed to do pretty much anything where you're like, listen, we can get great pieces and kind of, but I'm still about offense. But yeah, that in that case, you could say, listen, the best player available there is a linebacker. Styles is there for some reason. Okay, cool, do it. I'm cool, but it's got to be elite talent. Just to me, the whole guard thing just pissed me off. I'm like, I understand it, I respect it. I know the offensive line. I'd rather deal with the offensive line in free agency and get the elite game-breaking talent that normally we can't get in free agency through the draft. That's how you build through the draft. You know, look like Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson supposed to be our vision at a pass rusher. Hasn't really worked out yet, but that's the vision. Like build through the draft, and you know, in 2-3 years you have your elite level defense. That's what the goal is, or at least have an offense. But the offense is more important to me because the young quarterback. I just don't want them to sit there and be like, well, drop that. You know, God forbid you're Garrett Wilson injured from being away from just here we go again. A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie, and friggin' whoever else. It's just I don't want to be in that situation anymore, man.
Sure, yeah, neither do I. But again, that just because we feel that way doesn't mean that Cleveland's going to pass on Tate and whatnot.
Oh, no,
like
there's a
the
lot of
players
ways
have
to
got to
go.
actually be there. So that was kind of my point. Was like for free agency, like I'm looking at all these potential free agents as need fillers, gap fillers, right? If I could bring in that safety at whatever 10-11 million dollars per season, maybe even a little less, 8 to 9 if you are in love with
they tried
somebody.
that. They tried that last year. Your boy
Yeah, I mean,
Cisco.
well, Cisco was what? Like
It's $10 million, man.
fair enough. But again, you want to talk about the wide receivers, if you want to talk about guard, by just bringing in these guys that are just good quality nobody's saying that they're top 5 or
Right, I get it.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, guys like that. But they're starting reliable options that are quality NFL players that are massive upgrades over what we currently have. It now gives you the flexibility in the draft to say,
Of course.
oh, we love this player. Let's go out and draft him, as opposed to, oh, the guy that we love is here, but wait, we didn't sign a wide receiver. So let's just take this guy. We don't have one, or
that's
safety's the worst position to be in, right? Where you don't sign because safeties, generally speaking, aren't really paid a whole lot.
right.
So it's like you could have had a start. I mean, how many times have we had this conversation over the last couple of seasons, right? You could have had a good quality starting safety for 10 mil, 9 mil, 11 mil, and we would pass and we would hit the draft. And well, I mean, I guess that regime was a little bit questionable because they didn't value the safety position, but point is you can go out and solve that position for minimal. We're not talking about 40 mil. We're not talking about just massive, like a massive contract that you have to hand out. You can go and solve a position, get that locked down and figured out to where you're not saying, okay, now we have to spend 33 on a safety because we didn't go out and get one,
Well, yeah, and that's why you got to figure out what Muji's plan is. But they have to have a plan because they have a lot of holes, a lot of different ways they can address it too. So the comment is Reese Spain, Peter Woods at 16, and the trenches are set.
Yeah, I would still want to get at least one more veteran D tackle and one more veteran edge. But I see your point. Like the core, I think is for sure set. I want to get your thoughts on this. So what's your take with Darren Muji? Because we're talking about the draft and free agency and whatnot. I personally don't want the Jets to be handing out 80 mil, 60 mil contracts, because next season we have the 3 1s and the high 2, or I'm going to assume it's a relatively higher 2, not towards the back end of the second round. So that's, I would assume, even if you want to throw quarterback in the mix, that's 4 new starters coming in next draft class. Not even talking about any other free agents.
Right.
Not even talking about any of these day 3, the 6th rounders or 7th rounders. Maybe we find a diamond in the rough this season, but that's 4 new, I'm going to say guaranteed starters, or at the very least 4 guaranteed building blocks in next year's class.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily want to go, balls to the wall, spending all this money this this free agency cycle. Um, I think I want to kind of spend the money, get the guys that you feel great about, and then that way you're not kind of log
Well, that's
jamming.
not going to happen because right now, Muji and Glenn are fighting for their lives. I'm not going to go bargain basement shopping and be conservative because if they
Well, I'm
don't
not
get
saying
results this
bargain
year,
basement shopping.
but they
I'm
can't
just
take
saying,
the
hey, okay,
like.
let's go for 1 to 2 big free agent contracts as opposed to
It depends, dude, because you can't. This team is well, they're poorly coached, which is a bigger problem, but they lack talent. And we saw it last year. While they were poorly coached and the effort lacked at times, there was just no goddamn talent here. So now it's like, okay, we can't take the approach we took last year for agency, where you go, Stone Smart's a player, and this Josh Stone's a player.
right.
They weren't. So we have to get much better quality players, leaders, love the game of football, but actually can play the game of football and contribute at a higher level than last year. So that means signing more mid-tier guys and maybe overpaying them. Like Alex Anzalone, fine, done. Get it done. It's going to happen anyway. Fine. But you need more quality, dude. And if that means spending a Jets tax, you have to do it because you have to be competitive this year. You can't be like, oh, you know what? Because last year's excuse was, well, we had to implement our system. We had to weed out a lot of contracts and weed out a lot of stuff. Okay, last year was your excuse here. This year, no more excuses. You've had the entire year to evaluate players because you weren't winning games. You know all your holes. Now you have to show us that you know how to address them and address them quickly through the draft and free agency. It's not a 5-year rebuild anymore. Last year was your year to figure out, learn free agency. You learned it last year. Now show us what you learned this year and get in better players.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm all for what you are talking about here, right? Get better players. That's what everything is for with the picks in the space. My point was I don't want
You want
maybe the
Juwan
Jets.
Jennings. So if you don't want to give like $500 million contracts, I get that. But if you want your elite wide receiver, you're going to pay top dollar for it. If you want your Jennings, you're going to pay a lot of money to get him, right?
Right. And that, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm fine doing it once or twice, but I don't want the Jets to say, okay, you know what? Or maybe I don't want the Jets to feel the pressure of saying, okay, well, we have to give AVT this 15 mil. We have to give Breece his 14 mil. We have to go out and sign the wide receiver.
I disagree, though. That's not pressure on them. First, that's the house they built because they made a lot of mistakes. But if you don't want to pay Breece $14 million for 1 year, you shouldn't tag him because you're talking about you want to spend big money on players. Guess what? Juwan Jennings, $18 million a year. Okay. Breece Hall, 1 year, $14 million. That's elite money right there. That's already 2 players right there. Right? That's big. That's a big contract for a player. $14 million a year for running backs, a big contract. So you're already at 2, and you've only made 1 off-season move in terms of signing a player.
Right. And so that's kind of what I'm saying here is I don't want us to be so bogged down where we're looking at next year's class. We have some premium assets, dude. If we hit this offseason.
I don't care about next year. Who cares about next year?
Well, in regards to team building
is you got to gather. If you don't gather talent this year, you're not going to be here next year.
Yeah. And that's true. All I'm saying is we're at the end of the tunnel with this whole dead money, with the Aaron Rodgers contract, with all the, think about all the restructuring that JD did with like just all these different contracts throughout the years. CJ Mosley's contract is no longer a thing. Alan Lazard's contract is no longer a thing, right? Devontae Adams is no longer a thing. Like we're right at the end. I'm not against signing good players. But I don't want the Jets to necessarily feel like they have to overpay, like Mike McCagnon style. Like, okay, we're panicking. We need to overpay for Revis again. We need to bring back Crow. We need to go ahead.
I disagree. I just do. Mike McCagnon was desperate because they wanted to be a win now team and make the playoffs. The Jets aren't a win now team. They need to overpay to have actual talent on their team. Like they're not competitive right now. So it's like if you have to overpay to get a legit starting linebacker that can make a big impact, make your defense actually average, then you have to do that. Like they lack talent at this point where you have to just bring in something to survive.
So that plan that we were talking about before, right? Amik Robertson, Anzalone, Juwan Jennings, veteran quarterback, John Simpson, Breece Hall, Reed Blankenship. Would you be okay with that?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, me too. But you're not pounding on the table saying we need more. We need to go out and hand Devin Lloyd $70 million.
Right.
We need to go out and try to compete to bring in a Trey Hendrickson for.
But that's like when you do that when you're acting like you're one player away from going for a Super Bowl, a Trey Hendrickson, something like that. Like that's a guy where if you're like in theory, the Buffalo Bills. Okay, you want to go and make that move. You think you're one player away. Cool, makes sense. For the Jets, it doesn't because they're not in that. But you want that higher level player, though. You don't have to get the best of the best, but you need a very good from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I think we're on the same page. We're just talking kind of differently, right? It's like, I basically I would want that to take place, right? Starting safety, starting wide receiver, figure out, bring the guys back that you want to bring back, depth pieces, Breece, Simpson, ABT, whoever, get a veteran stopgap in the building, for sure at quarterback. But I don't want, again, the Jets to feel, or maybe Woody to feel like, you know what, we got to continue to spend when the offseason, because we're right at the cut, we're right at the end of the tunnel with the dead money. We could easily sign back on the hook and get into it. And look, I'm not saying don't spend money, but I feel like there's a calculated way of doing things.
Yep.
And I'm really looking at it as like a two off season catapult to get back to the playoffs. You know what I mean?
No, it's definitely I'm with you. It's definitely a couple year plan to get rebuilt, but like I'm not like last year was a waste. I'm not wasting this year. Like they have to show that they can actually, as a front office, bring in legitimate talent to draft free agency. Legitimate, like, all right, this free agent class makes a lot of sense. Like they saved their ass last year with some couple trades, 2 or 3 trades. Because after that, it was a disaster. So they've got a lot to prove.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm expecting the Jets to be pretty aggressive.
They should be.
But I don't know if it's going to be like New England Patriots aggressive.
No.
Where it's, what do they bring in, like 11 or 12 total free agents?
Yep. So here's a good one, because this is my favorite topic. You got Reese or Downs at 2, and Jeremiah Love if he falls. And I would then so you get Jeremiah Love, then you trade Breece.
Yeah, and that could be you could trade Breece to the team that misses out on Love if you take him at 16. But
he's not falling.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna fall. I mean, because you could argue like, okay, that's what the Lions did with Gibbs, right? And they just took him, but Gibbs was expected to be like a later first round. There were actually like Jets rumors with Gibbs that year, but I don't know. If Love is there, I'm taking him with or without Breece, and I think I would just move on from Breece at that point. Which, in that sense, the tag does make sense because now he's not like signed on a 3-year contract, right? But I just don't think he's going to make it to 16.
No, I would love to find a way to get him on his team. I would. So we talked about, if the draft board changes and if you have your own best player available at 16, what if that's Ty Simpson?
Could happen, man. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it won't.
Would you take him?
Would I take Ty? We're still early in the process. I wouldn't be against it. I'll say that. And also, because the Jets have so many damn needs, if they go with their guy at 2 and you are in love with Simpson at 16, you have a plan, you have a veteran guy that can start and kind of mentor Ty. I would say because we have so many extra draft picks, it does maybe lessen the blow. Because, for example, if the Jets had 1 pick in the top 50 and we're reaching on a quarterback, not good. Not good for a 3-win team to do that. But if you can say, oh, we have 2 1s, we went with the best player in the draft at 2 outside of Mendoza, and we go out and we land 2 maybe instant impact guys at the start of round 2, not to mention we have the high 4th rounder, but we also have the young quarterback in that top 4. It lessens the blow of if you miss on the guy, now your whole draft class sucks. Theoretically, if Ty Simpson were to just flat out buzz, like to flat out just not work out, at least you have the other 3 the high end rookies coming in saying, I would assume were to work out, because if Arvell Reese or David Bailey doesn't work out and Ty Simpson doesn't work out, I think we'll probably have a whole new regime in charge. So,
all right, I got a really good question for you. This one is going to be high level question. Would you rather Mitch Trubisky or Marcus Mariota?
Mariota, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't feel Mitch Trubisky to me is just too inconsistent. At least with Mariota, I know what he's going to be. I don't think those two guys are comparable. Like Mariota to me can spot start. Trubisky, yeah, I don't like if you want to sign Marcus Mariota and say, okay, he's the 1-year bridge, but he's not the guy. He's not like the long-term option. He's not,
right.
We're not going to treat him like a franchise guy here, but he can be, who would be an example? He would just be that 1-year guy to get you to 2027 to either mentor the young guy or if you love someone in 2027. Trubisky, if we start 0-3, 0-4, there's going to be people saying put the rookie in. With Mariota, I don't know.
I think they'll probably say the same thing of Mariota though too. I think if they start 0-4, no matter who the quarterback is, they're going to want the kid to play. But like, so how would you rank it now? Like your top, it's only February 17th, but it keeps changing. What would be your top 4 quarterback options for the Jets? Would it trade or free agency?
So I gotta say, man, I think I'm out on Kyler. It sucks, man, because I was pushing the Kyler. I felt like I was leading the charge on the Kyler talk on the pod, but just with Reich in the building, I just don't know if he really fits what he wants from the position, right? Like a high end mental processor.
Yeah.
I just doesn't really feel like it's Kyler to this point.
Nope.
If it was Tanner Inkstrand again, lots of, I feel like Kyler would have fit a little bit more. If it was Greg Roman, I feel like Kyler would have fit. Who I'm actually interested in seeing where Kyler, I think the Browns are a sleeper for Kyler because of Todd Monken and him working with Lamar, and Kyler is like comparable to Lamar with like just backfield quickness and read option game with Judkins, but you got to make the money work, right, with Watson and stuff like that. So am I giving
dude?
Yes,
we broke him.
I still like Kyler a lot. I still think he can have success, but I just feel like the fit with the Jets might not be the best.
You know what it was? I noticed when you came on today, you were a little somber. You didn't have that same fire and positive Jets energy, and that's because you realized Kyler Murray's not coming here. That's what I finally figured it out, man. You're like a piece of you is broken today.
Yeah, I had to delete all the Kyler thumbnails that I made for like pre uploads.
Gotta cancel the jersey I bought you.
Yeah, I know, it's right to the trash. I would say probably the first realistically speaking, right? Because we could talk about like, trade for Stroud or
it's not happening.
I mean, even I guess this Derek Carr thing is pretty interesting too, but I would say probably right now, Kirk Cousins, if he's cut and you don't have to trade anything for him, would probably be my first option. Jacoby Brissett, honestly, I think with the connections to Reich, him being okay, being the mentor, and he's not going to come in and be like a jerk. Because we've seen like veteran quarterbacks come in and be a jerk to the young guy, and Brissett is not that type of dude.
No.
I think who was it? Connor Hughes reported that Brissett he like looks up to Parcells as a mentor, and it's been like documented that Glenn has like the Parcells connection. So I think Brissett would probably be like realistically at least a playable option that you can like sell. Okay, he fits the system, and he's worked with Reich, and he's going to develop a young guy. I still don't want to like completely let go of the whole Mac Jones thing, but the problem is like you have to. I'm going to assume extend Mac Jones on a contract. Like I don't know if he's going to be all for just playing out his cheap contract. I mean, maybe he's down to keep that number as long as he's getting big money or bigger money after that. I mean, you have a couple other like younger guys with potential, like the Tanner McKees, the Joe Miltons. I guess we could throw Malik Willis into that mix as well. Those to me, I think are interesting options, but they're just not sure things. I just don't want to be, putting all of our eggs in the Tanner McKee basket. Could it work? Yeah. But there's a chance that he's maybe not the guy. Right, I guess we could throw Anthony Richardson into that mix as well. Will Levis, we just don't know. JJ McCarthy, we just don't know about these guys.
Don't you think the Jets will get more value? Like, I don't think they're in a position to take a chance on Malik Willis because you need to get a veteran guy in there that's been there, done, that can actually just run your offense and just see what you exactly have. Like, you can't go through another year of growing pains with Malik Willis or Tanner McKee. Like, oh my God, this guy sucks. Garrett Wilson gets 45 catches. Nobody can't run the ball, can't do this. I think you got to actually put together an offense. You can actually just move the football and score points. So if it may not be flashy with Kirk Cousins or Jacoby Brissett, but at least you're a professionally run offense. So you can say, okay, now we know what we have here in terms of playmakers and offensive line talent. Now we know what we need. Like coming out of last year, we have no idea what we need because they're so poorly coached and they sucked. You know what I mean? So it's like Fields was god awful. So now if you have Cousins managing the game well, Brissett, we're like, okay, listen, we understand the scheme. We understand what our strengths are, our weaknesses. And now for like, I think you can't take a chance on these guys that are completely unproven at this point.
Yeah, so Dylan is saying Geno Smith Jets reunion. At least he could drop back and hit a pass, but I just feel like the turnovers have always kind of been an issue with like when Geno can cut the turnovers down, he's a good playable option. But when the turnovers are there, it just doesn't go well.
But you got to figure in the Frank Reich offense, though, he could flourish. So good offensive line, run the football. It shouldn't be like that. Like last year was chaos with the Raiders, man. It was complete disaster there. Where I think if you reel him in a little bit, you don't take away his athletic ability, but you reel him in, I think he could be serviceable. Like him, like Jameis Winston. If the Giants made him available, which they won't, but I'd be all for it, dude. Why not? But just I'd rather have it's gonna sound weird, but I'd rather the known right now as opposed to the unknown because the unknown right now is too risky for a team that's been so bad. Like we just need a stabilizing force on offense to run the offense while having a young kid underneath them. Watch them run the offense and learn from them. If you're watching Brissett run the offense, scoring 22 points a week, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like. Not chaos with Justin Fields running around and falling down and everything else. Like I can't take a risk with a Tanner McKee. I just can't.
Yeah, I mean maybe for a team like Arizona or Miami, taking a shot on one of those younger guys makes sense because you feel like the runway's there. But with Glenn needing to really show improvement, it just feels like a bit of a stretch to say, Malik Willis come in and he's going to be our guy moving forward. No questions asked.
Yeah. So this is a conversation we're going to have only 5,000 more times before free agency starts.
Yeah, I know. Well, when does free agency open up? March 14th. So yeah, a little bit less than a month.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, man. There's so many different options popping up each time. And like you figure this week coming up, this week's my favorite weekend because now it's like Glenn meets the media, Muji meets the media, and then all the rumor mill goes crazy over the next week or so because all the scouts and the agents all meet and everybody's meeting and talking. And now you start to get a good pulse of what's going to be available out there. That's when it gets fun.
Yep. Yeah, there should be a lot of and at the same time too, a lot of smoke too, a lot of fake stuff.
Yep. It's this weekend coming up. So it's a fun time down there. I cannot wait for the press conferences, man. Because I want them to ask Aaron Glenn, at what point did you decide that you wanted to call plays on defense? I just want that question. And I want to hear him talk around in circles because it's an embarrassing question. It's an embarrassing answer he's going to have to give. I just want to see how he handles it because there's no good way to handle it. There's not.
It's going to be interesting, man. And Darren Muji should also meet with the media too.
Yep, they both do.
And also, I'm wondering when the Jets are going. I mean, who knows if they're going to do it, but I would actually love to see a Frank Reich presser.
Yeah, I would love
because I mean, like all these other teams are releasing like their OC and DC, intro pressers and stuff, but there hasn't been anything. Even with Brian Duker, who's hired way before Reich,
they're probably preparing him for the press conference.
Nothing on that front.
So to answer your question, by the way, you said we'll make a prediction now. As of now, February 17th, will Breece Hall be franchise tagged? What do you think?
I think he will.
With the franchise or transition?
Transition.
I think so. Okay.
Yeah.
I just have this weird feeling they're going to franchise tag him. I don't agree with it, but I think they're going to franchise tag him, and he's not going to be happy.
One.
Yep. I think so. I'm not gonna be happy.
Yeah,
about
I just don't really. I don't really get the logic with that unless you want to tag and trade.
Yeah. I mean, when they decide, we'll definitely talk about it. But that's kind of what I'm predicting right now. So we'll see what happens. Do you have anything else? We did an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know how that's even possible. We had no topics tonight.
Dude, imagine when free agency opens up, though, man. It's gonna be crazy.
So we thank you guys all for joining us a lot because this is a tough time of year. We're all speculating and guessing and doing everything else. So as we get closer to free agency and we can figure out more, but it's kind of like a downtime right now. So thank you guys for joining us. Ian, do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm good. By the way, is my internet okay?
Yeah, mine's been fine. I saw they said that something was wrong with YouTube, but
Yeah, well, I'm getting like the Wi-Fi like flashing thing on my end, which is kind of, I think because I have yeah, okay, there we go. It should be a little bit better now.
Yeah, mine was good. Thank you guys for joining us. Next week we'll be on his channel talking about some different things. God knows what, and I'll find something to argue about. So we appreciate the support. Talk to you guys later.
Jet!